Over the past decade, social media has given a voice to the people, the marginalized, and the everyday person, enabling them to make their voices heard. It has also given a voice to and platform to those who intend to spread hate, misinformation, or divide us. The nature of social media has twisted and affected our social and political discourse in many unpredictable ways. Performative politics, partisanship, and social media outrage becoming all the more common. Tribalism and social sorting. In the modern age, our communication and politics are dominated by social media. Social media has made us more extreme, less empathetic, and more reactive to the social and political issues that our world experiences today. Social media thrives off of engagement. It doesn't matter what kind of engagement, and it doesn't care. Good, bad, likes, dislikes, shares, comments, and reposts. All it cares about is interaction. Social media lends itself to a level of anonymity and depersonalization. Those who use social media often engage in more reactive, combative, and rude behavior online than if they were to have the same discussion in person. Why? Tribalism. Social media's systems of likes and dislikes, shares and comments, etc., hijack the part of our brain that throughout history was used to navigate complex social systems, structures, and hierarchies. In effect, social media uses these pathways to encourage engagement and use of their platforms. This incentivizes our brain to socially sort people. In effect, putting people in a category inside your brain based off the content or views shared via their social media. Good, bad, nice, mean, rude, liar, trustworthy, etc., etc. But this wasn't always the case. Take, for example, if you and someone else cheer for the same football team, but you don't share the same political views. In the past, you may have been more receptive or interested in listening to them and having a conversation with them, and they may have been more interested in listening and having a conversation with you. This is because you held a commonality or a social glue of sorts. Whether it's a sports team or a church or a local community or a run club or a gym, etc., there was an element that you both shared together that humanized the other person, and on social media, this social glue is in effect gone. There is nothing that humanizes someone on the other side of the world behind a screen. And while yes, there are names and faces and usernames, this usually is not enough to foster meaningful or productive communication of any kind. When using social media, you may come across many politically divisive accounts. Accounts such as Matt Walsh blog, Typical Liberal, Date Right Stuff, Representative Matt Gaetz even, who is an official U.S. congressman, and DC Drano, to name a few, on the right. And while there is nothing wrong with advocating for your politics within your country or state or the world on social media, many of these accounts post explicitly inflammatory or outright false information online. It's also important to note their intentions or what they stand to gain from posting online. It should be noted that many of the right-wing accounts on social media that post this kind of content explicitly benefit from it, as most of the time these accounts are used to sell merch, courses, and other sort of political merchandise or wares, and so they are financially incentivized to continue to drive us further and further apart. People like Tommy Lauren and Brett Cooper also engage in this behavior. And the left isn't necessarily innocent either, with people like Walter Masterson filming many skits with heavy political undertones in order to sell tickets to his comedy show. People like Hassan Piker and AOC and Harry Simons sometimes engage in very similar behavior. This being said, Harry Simons and Hassan Piker stand out as their entire job is a digital creator or a Twitch streamer talking about politics. And so while they are financially incentivized to talk about them, they, because of their size and the number of viewers that they consistently attract, their money is made through the viewers that watch them for their content. Accounts like SixBuzz TV or RTN Canada and others around the world, as there are many. These accounts are usually branded as lifestyle culture, pop culture related accounts, yet consistently engage in posting extreme content online and creating unhealthy discourse that is in no way productive. They are also financially incentivized to post these things as they tend to get the most amount of interactions. We've also seen a massive increase in parasocial relationships due to social media. A lot of these political creators rely on their fans and create a false sense of family or community in order to extract more money, views, and likes, comments, shares, etc., which they financially benefit from. In recent times, Meta, in response to Canadian government legislation, has decided to block news sources on its platform from specifically Canadian sites, and also to block Canadians from seeing other news on their platforms such as Instagram and Facebook. This is extremely concerning, as this effectively has let Instagram skirt the law and cast aside any Canadian news corporations, and has led to a massive increase in misinformation and disinformation online. A platform built for discussion. While there are many prominent social media platforms, the most prominent being Instagram and Facebook from Meta, YouTube from Google, and Twitter, now known as X, in recent years we have seen the rise of a new platform, TikTok. And while it's worth noting that TikTok is not innocent in its use of algorithms, likes, dislikes, shares, etc., it's worth noting that TikTok is built as a platform for discussion rather than just engagement. This is notable in its blue search comments, a comment that is typically highlighted blue with a magnifying glass or search symbol, signifying that many people who watch the video or content are looking for additional clarification or information. Additionally, duets and video responses to comments encourage users to ask questions to the creators and creators to respond and engage with their audience across wide groups of people. This can even be felt and seen in the way that the people on TikTok as an app behave, as well as its features. Educational or EDU content and learning content is extremely popular on TikTok. And while the accuracy of such content can be debated, TikTok has listened to its user base and created a STEM For You page, explicitly separating science, technology, and engineering and medical fields into its own page. This has allowed the educational content to thrive and grow on TikTok, and yet allow the platform to keep its personality of jokes, dancing, moving, which is what its user base originally came to the app for. A Google survey. I wanted to create a survey to share with my friends, community via my network, and know what their thoughts of social media and how it has affected our politics, communication, and our social lives. To do this, I created a Google form, 12 questions. The survey aims to collect people's basic demographic, along with their political affiliations, and then see how they feel about social media and how it has impacted their political views or how they behave online. While creating the survey, I ran into a few issues. Sending it publicly to a potentially large amount of people presented an issue in terms of the number of data and responses I would have to sort through. To solve this issue, once I had brainstormed a list of potential questions and narrowed them down to a reasonable length to ask on the survey, to change these questions and their wording in order to get quantitative data rather than qualitative. Instead of asking for short answers or paragraph responses, we had the questions rearranged into statements to have responses in a numeric form. This massively helped visualize the data and, as such, people's opinions and feelings on the matter. Data analysis. The largest demographic of respondents was 18 to 23, and while having more data and a larger age range would potentially provide better data, 18 to 23-year-olds are some of the most active users of social media, and as such, I believe that despite the low number of participants for the survey, it is still a good litmus test for how people feel about social media. I wanted to pose a few questions about social media and how people behave about them. So we first asked, has anyone deleted social media? And a large majority of people said that they had. I was then curious to find out if people try to tailor their social media algorithms and what content they see, especially if they do not agree with the content or enjoy it. And so I asked, have you ever blocked, muted, or restricted a large account from someone popular online? And unsurprisingly, 70% of people also said yes. Political party affiliations. I wanted to find out if people that aligned with different political parties felt differently about the other side of the political aisle or engaged in different behavior when online. With a very interesting split of people and their political parties, with the left parties, Liberal and NDP, holding about 37.5%, and conservative parties, at least in Canada, holding 30%, along with 20% of respondents saying that they do not associate with any political party. Political party best interests. 51.2% of respondents said no or maybe, and 46.2% of respondents said yes. This demonstrates how people prioritize their interests and choose to vote, as many people vote for parties that may not entirely align with their views, needs, or wants, but vote for them anyways, as they see the party as having a higher chance of winning or getting into government. And although they don't stand for everything that that specific person may believe in, they have a much higher chance of winning an election. And as such, people will vote for that party as something is better than nothing in terms of the changes you would like. I wanted to see if people thought that social media had radicalized them or changed their political views in a much more radical or extreme way. 74.4% of respondents said that they were unsure, no, or might have been radicalized via social media. I also wanted to find out if people saw content that they agreed with or did not agree with when using social media. And so I asked, when scrolling social media, I see more content that is antagonistic or opposes my viewpoint than content I agree with. So it's interesting, as people are more likely to respond harshly, rude, or extremely to content that they disagree with than what they agree with. However, the majority of people, 64.1% in this case, indicated that they saw more content that they agree with than that they don't. I wanted to know if social media has affected and changed our political views over time. We often hear online that young men are going down the alt-right pipeline. And so I wanted to see, given our young age demographic, if this was true. On average, people said that social media did not change their views politically. However, there were some major outliers or wide swings, as we can see in this case. In the case of this poll, 1 meant further left and 10 meant further right, with 5 meaning that social media has not changed their views. I then wanted to gauge how people felt about social media or how social media made them feel. Participants of the poll, on average, reported a 5.7 in terms of how social media made them feel, 1 being poor and 10 being extremely happy. This indicates a moderately neutral feeling towards social media. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about those who oppose your views? 1 being, I hate them, they're the enemy, etc., etc. This would indicate that people are more likely to engage in rude and extreme behavior online when conversing with individuals that do not agree with them. And so, on average, people rated their feelings towards those that oppose their views as 7.35 out of 10, demonstrating that despite a wide range of political affiliations and increasing feelings of online polarization and partisanship, and partisanship of our politics and communication, the majority of people still favored community, even if the community did not entirely agree with them, and were also willing to work with others that do not agree with them moving forward. Do you think social media has caused more harm than good? 3.92 was the average reported number for people that think social media has caused more harm than good. 1 being extremely bad and detrimental to society, 10 being great, perfect, etc. Feel that an average rating of 3.92 is very interesting, as it demonstrates a large disconnect between how people get their enjoyment out of social media, what it has led to, but the opinion of social media is still low. I feel that this also presents an opportunity that shows that new social media, or a new social media company that may try to enter the market with a more discussion or community-oriented approach would have a large chance, despite the fact that there are large monopolies in the current social media landscape. I then asked, as a final question, do we think that social media should be banned? As I wanted to gauge how strongly people felt about the issues that we had with social media. And while this would be an extreme solution or response to social media's answer, I thought it was an interesting question to ask. More than 65% of people said that they would not want social media banned, with the remaining 32.5% saying no, or they were unsure. I just screwed that. I'm going to have to cut that bit. Social media has caused issues throughout its lifetime, but it's not without its upsides, allowing us to communicate with those across the world at any time and experience cultures that we may never have seen before. I believe going forward as a society and a community, and as individuals, we need to hold ourselves, our friends, and family, but more importantly, the companies that benefit from the use of their platforms and for the information and content shared on their platform, as well as the environment and outcomes from the environment that they have created. As social media aims to divide and drive us apart in the face of uncertain times, knowing that the outrage and performative politics of many and the antics seen online do not represent the way that the majority of people act or feel. Combating this issue and growing from it will present a significant challenge for all of us. And improving our social discourse and ways of communication, we aim to bridge and repair the gap that has been created in order to improve life for all, bring attention to issues not previously known or thought of. United we stand, divided we fall. Patrick Henry, 1799. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I'd like to thank those who participated in the first survey as well for their input. If you'd like to participate in another copy of the survey shown in this video, as well as a follow-up survey and feedback, links can be found in the video description. Thank you very much.